I spoke earlier about the IANA stewardship transition and the important role that Larry Strickling played. But the other person who helped the transition become a reality is former ICANN CEO Fadi Chehadé. As Steve Crocker has said on numerous occasions, it was really Larry Strickling and Fadi that pulled this together. Steve has often referred to it in private conversation with me as kind of the perfect storm. It was the right time, and we had the right people. Please welcome back to the ICANN stage, Fadi Chehadé.
Chairman Crocker, President Marby, Secretary General, all of you, good to be back. Thank you for inviting Sue and I to join this tribute. And I actually wrote my speech for the first time in my life. For you, Steve. We're delighted to be back in the midst of this wonderful community. I actually miss you. It's been a while. And I'm particularly happy and thankful to see you all thriving with the good stewardship of President Marby. Sue and I are here today for you, Steve and Beth. And for us, Steve and Beth are a package. Right? Two grand souls, wonderful people, but who are really one in every way. Your love and unity, which I've watched with Sue, have truly inspired us. Thank you both for the amazing support you gave Sue and I during our ICANN years. I remember when I first saw Steve's towering figure and very deep eyes. Steve did not have to grow on me. We quickly bonded. I called him my boss, my partner. He was also my conscience. And at many times, he was truly the reasoned rudder for my very passionate sail. He kept me on track. As we embarked side by side to unmoor ICANN from its shipyard and take it to the world, I had the privilege of operating in very close quarters with this man. And this was no leisurely sail. We faced fierce headwinds and very difficult days. But that's when you know your partner. And Steve was quite a discovery. You all know his legendary determination and dedication, solid like a rock. He's a man of his word. His nimble mind, full of surprises and inventive wits. His gentle and very kind spirit, which soothed tensions, as Larry said, and brought us together so many times. But most of all, it's his reassuring, deeply authentic persona that actually affirmed time and time again what ICANN is about. And yes, Steve lost his cool sometimes. I've seen it. And he stepped in with fury and strength, but always, always in pursuit of the pure and highest integrity of our purpose. Because unfailingly, when self-interests blinded us, you, Steve, steadfast, embodied the very purpose of the ICANN enterprise. I cannot forget how Steve deftly and quietly helped me maneuver through the many, many difficult twists and turns on the road to ICANN's independence. Few will ever know how indispensable your hand was when everyone said impossible. You were there helping us craft solutions. Steve, you gave us courage. You gave us strength. You actually gave us legitimacy. And for all we did, you gave us all the credit. All of this we know about Steve. But deep underneath all these traits, is Steve's core strength, his amazing natural humility. He doesn't have to work on it. When facing grand endeavors, we tend to put ourselves in the midst of the picture, not Steve. He puts others and ICANN always at the center. Sometimes he even steps out of the picture, happy to be everyone's canvas. In the grand pantheon of internet fathers and internet inventors, Steve elevates and enables others, possibly the greatest service of all. My favorite poet, Khalil Gibran, wrote, "And oftentimes I was among you a lake among the mountains. I mirrored the summits in you and the bending slopes." You are our lake, Steve, calm, clear, deep, bonding us together, absorbing our raging rivers of ideas. You kept us together, and you continue to keep us together. You are the internet community's great lake. Humility, integrity, authenticity, dedication, and above all, purity of purpose. That's you, Steve. Thank you. Thank you. I have some homework. Nii Quaynor is going to follow me. He's the father of the internet in Africa. He pioneered internet development and expansion throughout Africa for nearly 2 decades, establishing some of Africa's first internet connections. Nii helped set up key organizations, including the African Network Operators Group. He was also the founding chairman of Afrinic. But more than anything else, Nii embodies all what Africa is. It's grand and yet very humble and very sweet. And I've worked with him, and I'm very happy to ask him to come to the podium and follow me. Ladies and gentlemen, Nii Quaynor.
Well, thank you very much for this very nice introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to be able to say a few words of tribute to Dr. Steve Crocker. Steve was elected chairman at ICANN 43 in Dakar, Senegal, which is a true testament of the global nature of ICANN. So, Steve is actually a chief from Africa, a chief who is the guardian of the internet. We are thrilled to celebrate your success as chairman of ICANN and your contribution to the formation of the internet. When Steve assumed the role as chair, there were tensions in the African community, and the African governments were expressing concerns. In June 2012 at ICANN 44 in Prague, questions were being asked. Why was African participation in ICANN so weak? And why was its presence in Africa so small? On more than a few occasions, we in the ICANN community were asked whether Africa's interest was best served by ICANN. ICANN responded by challenging the African community to self-organize and present a strategic plan proposal. The plan was to be completed by the time ICANN 45 in Toronto began in 2012. Notice 3 months. That was the beginning, the genesis of the ICANN's highly successful regional strategies. Now, the developing world is pleased with ICANN's attention to the global regions and its emphasis on better serving the public interest. Thanks for believing in us, Steve, when there was so much doubt from so many others. In so many ways, you lead the way. An early reference to the use of public key as identifier was in a paper at INET 95, that far back, titled Payment Systems for the Internet, authored by Steve, and it included a section on peer-to-peer payments. Public key hashes have now come into widespread use as addresses in the expanding cryptocurrency and blockchain applications that the internet has enabled. With your technical skills, political savvy, and community mindfulness, you led us through the massive IANA transition work. You liberated us. International perception of a more independent ICANN have improved the atmosphere in local policy environments where the internet is growing the fastest and has the most impact. Steve, your sacrifices are greatly appreciated, and we are grateful for your steady hand in time of need. You instilled trust in our diverse community and also in the networks we administer and coordinate. ICANN depends on clear roles to perform effectively in the ecosystem. Thank you, Steve, for what you have done for the internet, for ICANN, and for the community. You will no longer be ICANN's chair, but you will always be my good friend, the guardian of the internet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nii. When we were putting this evening together, I reached out to Steve and I said, Steve, we want to make sure that we give you what you want for this kind of send-off. He said, I just don't want it to be stiff and formal and lots of boring speeches, but we did that anyway. So rather than engaging Steve and having him give us a speech, we're going to do a casual little conversation. So Steve, if you can come up, you and I will have a little talk over here.